to today's live session on why traditional IT asset management fails. My name is Joseph Gordon, as you can boldly see, Digital Marketing Officer from Point, and I'll be your host for this session that is proudly brought to you by On Point in partnership with Landsweeper. First of all, we are thrilled to have you join us from various regions. Especially those working in the financial sector. Where IT asset visibility, compliance, and lifestyle control are more critical than ever, especially in these times. So, once again, a special thank you to all those who have registered, and also your interest just communicates to us that this conversation is an important one that needs to be had and is quite timely. And just to give you a brief run on what we'll be doing today is that we'll be exploring why legacy IT asset management approaches often fall short, that is in today's complex environment, and how Jira Service Management, actually enhanced by Landsweeper assets discovery capabilities, can help your team regain control and reduce risk and also drive smarter decisions. So, and it's good to note that before we dive in, actually, this session includes some demos, some world cases, sorry, and a Q&A at the end. So please feel free to drop your questions in the chat at any time. We'll try and get as many as possible, in the final segment. So before we actually invite our experts, I just want to give you a brief intro on who exactly they are. First up, we have Gideon Ackney, who is an Atlassian consultant here at On Point. And Gideon works closely with enterprises to implement scalable service management solutions that align with business and compliance needs. Now, I'd say he's a main character personality. Desu Acheampong, the other speaker, is the ITSM architecture lead, or you can call him the ITSM architect and sales lead at On Point. He brings a deep insight into real-world client challenges and how modern IT asset management solutions can bridge the gap between technology and then finance-driven operations. So, without much ado, I just add our guests, and that is Sam and then Gideon. I believe you can see me clearly.
Hi, Joe. What's up?
I'm great. I'm doing great. I think I believe Gideon's camera is off, so we can barely see. It's actually on, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, just going to. All right, I think it'll pop up shortly. So, Sam, how are you doing? It's a Wednesday afternoon. How are you feeling?
Guy. I'm good. Wednesdays are always chill, so I'm excited to
Okay,
be here. Yeah.
it's actually exciting to have you on. It's been a while we did this, honestly. So,
Yeah,
you and I.
very well.
Exactly. So, before you take over, can you just, I want to believe, a good job breaking down what exactly the day entails, but could you just, run us through, and then you can have the platform, please.
Sure, Joe. I think just as you rightly said, we are really looking at ITSM as a whole, but this session was to bring so much focus on IT asset management, why IT asset management projects fail, and why it's important now, especially in this digital era. So we're going to really talk about ITSM management, share personal experiences on projects that we did successfully and those we failed, the blockades, the learnings, and also share insights from leading leading consulting firms like Gartner. So it's really about asset management. We may delve a bit into the value it provides and probably look at the service configuration management. So I think it's going to be a long drive. I'm sure maybe you may invite us another time to really continue with it. Because, yeah, so that's really what I think today would be about.
Great,
Yeah.
great. I think if you know Sam, you can tell from the start that he's very eager about the session, but he's trying to keep it calm. He's trying to keep it cool.
Oh, God.
Okay, so I think finally Gideon is able to join us. Gideon, talk to us. Talk to
Yeah,
us. How are you feeling about
Joseph.
today? How prepared? Yeah.
Okay, as Samuel rightly said, we would be talking more on asset management and how asset management has influenced with financial sectors and even with the fintechs in general. Yeah, so basically it's all about assets and their integrations with Jira and Lansweeper.
Fantastic, fantastic. So this is where I magically go off your screen and hand over to my big shots to actually take us through. I know someone is taking us through the first session, so you have the floor, gentlemen. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks, Joe. I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know. I have two screens. Just give me a minute. Okay, so kindly prompt me when you see my screen. Okay, good. All right, is my screen visible? Joe, Gideon, can you confirm if my screen is visible?
The screen is visible.
Yeah.
It's visible.
Third, good. Thanks. Third, so I think Joe, like you rightly introduced us and the topic, right? Today's session is once again about why traditional IT asset management fails. I mean, I just started from that focus. It will be more like a discussion, right? Because Gideon and I play different roles in on point, have to be honest. And where I sit, my focus really is driving value from ITO practices and IT asset management is a core part. So I'm just going to really jump in. I have some few slides to really walk us through. The first one is the agenda. We're going to look at what IT asset management is, popularly called ITAM, ITAM or ITAM, right? Why it matters to IT leadership, the gaps, which we look at where it falls short when it comes to implementation, some best practices, and then Gideon would really talk us briefly through the value Jira and Lansweeper brings. So please enjoy your ride, and I would love to see comments as we go on. So truth is that there are new realities facing businesses. Um, every business, financial sector is facing a lot of digital realities because customers' expectations have changed and customer demands are always increasing, right? The customer demands more of, I mean, different kind of support systems. The 21st century customer is really a different breed, perhaps because of access to different options. The expectations are really higher in these times more than ever, and so there's been an incremental increase in the rise of digital businesses. And if you look at our financial sectors, all of them are, I mean, building great products digitally, like mobile applications, insurance applications. They are really trying to digitalize their service, and so this is a reality we cannot ignore, because then this reality eats into the next step that they have to build infrastructure and tailor their infrastructure and environments to suit these quick production of applications or quick building of these applications to meet customer demands. Else they risk losing their customers. And one of the things you've seen is there's been a rapid growth in SaaS adoption across these enterprises. So there's a lot of SaaS applications these enterprises are using. I mean, some of them have more than 50 different tools at the same time, and a good percentage of them are SaaS applications, which means that they're also having intentionalities around saving cost, making sure they don't pay for what they don't need. So when it comes to license management of the SaaS applications, these enterprises are really being very critical in ensuring that every dollar spent comes with a value. They don't want to be caught off guard, literally. So let's look at what ITAM actually is. So basically, IT asset management, refers to, it basically can refer to any object or valuable item or component that contributes to the building of the product or service, right? IT4, which is the standard practice that guides IT service management. I mean, the current one says, is any financially valuable components that can contribute to the delivery of an IT product or service. And so examples could be laptops, workstations, for the banks, ATMs, it could be servers, it could be any kind of asset you can think of that produces, for example, value to the development or the delivery of their products or services, right? So that's asset. And literally, I see IT asset management as content, right? So just take IT asset management as the content of our warehouse. What do we have? You know, from infrastructure, I mean, to anything that contributes to our value delivery process. So let me be very honest, it's not really about the infrastructure or the hardware components of IT asset management. Now we are looking at microservices, we are looking at even policies, we are looking at even licensing structure. So there's so many components that contributes to the delivery of the product now. And just like I said, take IT asset management as the content of our warehouse or our production room. What do we have? It's just simply us that. The objectives of really IT asset management is really simple. Organizations want to understand what business objects do we have, so that they can really tell a story and, for example, exactly tell and understand the objects. One, understand the object, their life cycle, probably their history, understand certain key details about their asset objects that can inform them to make quality decisions, and of course help them save money. The reason is that if you understand what objects you have, understand a certain level of their dependencies, understand their life cycle, context, and everything, it really would help you to make quality decisions, and then of course help you to have process efficiencies because you have insight into what you have, which would fuel the process efficiency design and then channel through quality decision making literally. Let's move straight to the challenges, right, faced by enterprises when it comes to IT assets management. So just for a minute, just imagine, right, any enterprise you work with or have been to, there are a lot of different tools used by different teams. I mean, for different reasons, right? And when you look at assets, right, every department has their interpretation of assets and has a portion of the asset data that are relevant to their work. So, for example, the procurement team have their own interpretation and expectation of what assets data should look like for them because they manage their buying and their supply chain of acquiring those assets. If you look at the accounts team, they also have different key data attributes that concern them. And these account teams manage different parts of the assets. They are all managing different parts of the assets indirectly, right? And these organizations, like I stated earlier, have different tools that are managing these different attributes or assets data. So the finance tool probably using any financial ERP tool, to manage the depreciation, the purchase cost, probably commissions or stuff. I don't know, but discounts, whatever they are managing that. Procurements are managing the SLAs, warranty. They are also managing that. They have tools that keep them. When it comes to the IT team, too, the developers are managing different components. Infrastructure team, the network team. So siloed data across. So there's really no single source of truth for accurate data. So the completeness of the data is really a huge after effect of this siloed data set up in organizations. And of course, that is the nature of the work, So it's really a difficult challenge that organizations looked at. And then increased cost, right? So because of this siloed data, one of the challenges organizations face is the rise in the cost of their IT operations and infrastructure equipment. Because then, if you don't really have insight into the usage, warranties, depreciation, decommissioning, all the other stuff about the assets, and you don't even know some of them exist, for example. And a lot of organizations, I have to be very realistic, are not even sure of how many assets they have. There was a time we were doing a project for a client, and during the initiation phase, we asked a simple question about how many assets data they have in their environment, and he said 15,000. After the first count, there was around 120,000. It tells you there's so much of knowledge gaps when it comes to the realities of what they have. And so Some of them are paying for so many things that is not giving direct value to the organizations, right? And that is a major issue. And the last one is they are facing slower incident response because they lack visibility into the assets or the infrastructure that powers the services they provide to the customers. And so if something is to happen, they spend a lot of time in diagnosing. And the truth is, let's just say there's a security issue. I mean, the first question any organization is going to ask it, what is impacted, what is affected, right? And because they don't have visibility into the asset infrastructure and assets, how to say, dependencies and the asset context and content, it becomes very difficult for them to even diagnose better, right? And the good part, or the unfortunate good part, is everybody would now passionately want to help. So more people join in to discover or to diagnose the incident. And that even worsens the problem because different people come with different perspectives of what is happening, but there is no leverage in terms of data or foundational data to guide, so it becomes really a challenging thing. And so it takes a lot of time to respond to incidents, which of course will cost the companies money because the customer is not always there for you. I mean, there are lots of competitors trying to get the same customer. So these are some challenges, right? And like this is from Gartner 2023 that I know leaders will overspend their ITSM platform budget by $2 billion in 2026. And the reason being that the reason is very clear, right? Because of the eagerness and the demand for INO leaders to build quality products and ship them faster for their customers, when they get to be presented with solutions that kind of have extra features to get their job done, they invest in without carefully mapping out exactly what the value stream is. So this is a clear fact, and certain ITSM tools in the system and platforms provide the hope of I'm the savior for you all, but realistically, you realize that what organizations need it's far more different from a tool which promises to have features. It's really about a plan, a value plan that is carefully niched and narrowed. Aligned with business objectives and buying what they need. Maturing with their software stack as they grow. And this is a major issue. And from where I sit, we hear this a lot. Some organizations we have the best ITSM tool. They pay so much millions for it, but the value really doesn't come. So this is a clear problem. And why I picked this use case from the New York Stock Exchange. There was a glitch that happened for the NYSE didn't work for 90 minutes, right? Because they ran some new softwares on their trading terminals, 20 of them. They tested it. The next day, they realized 8 of them wasn't working. So the New York Stock Exchange couldn't work for 90 minutes, and it's a really long story. Probably you can read more about it. But this was a use case that validates the fact that this company had a good asset management and configuration system because we were able to quickly identify and quickly resolve it, even though it took them 90 minutes. That was the best time they could do. I just brought this to highlight the need for quality asset management because think of it as every service you deliver to your customers sits on the asset infrastructure. It's the asset that is powering every action that goes into the value delivery stream. So, this is something for us all to read, and probably the next session we will share what we got from it. So I put a question: why does IT asset management matter? You can type your answers in, but I think I've expressed so much of it within here. All right. Now, I want you to just pay attention with on the diagram there. Right. The reason why ITAM matters really, basically, it's that organizations are evolving because of customer demands, and they're adopting best practices like DevOps, ITIL, ITSM. I know DevOps is looking at accelerated delivery, shipping products faster to customers, so bringing Dev and Ops team together. ITSM is looking at managing service end to end, right? So organizations are really taking up these, frameworks to deliver value faster. And all of these frameworks actually rest on IT assets and configuration management. This session we're just looking at IT asset management because the truth is, if you look at the diagram, if IT asset management is really weak and wrong, then it means that the organization suffers a projected risk that it's really enormous. Because then, if you are building faster, right, it means that a lot of changes will be shipped faster. Now, if changes are shipped faster, chances are that incidents will happen. Incidents will happen regardless. And when the incidents happen, your go-to place is really looking at what really was impacted, the downstream impact of the change that was deployed, which caused the incident. And the source of truth that can guide every action, every step you have, it's your IT asset and service configuration management. So it's really, really key for organizations to get it right. I would say most of our organizations are putting a lot of good efforts in here, but the gospel truth is that the manual management of IT assets doesn't really contribute to the value you get from IT asset management, because they are sitting on a lot of Excel sheets, and they are not really contributing greater to the delivery process. So I mean, and looking at the times now, it's really become important that organizations really, really, really consider IT asset management and service configuration as a niche value item that contributes to the production and service delivery process. Yeah. I think this will be my last or maybe few slides to end. I mean, I told Joseph that we may do this in sessions so that we can have a lot of time to go through. But from my little experience, why IT asset management projects failed, I will start with the middle one. Too many wide scopes. The scope for IT asset implementation are mostly wide. It's really cumbersome to implement successfully, because the reason is that there's a lot of expectations, right? And when organizations try to go through that, it really becomes cumbersome to handle. And of course, the siloed tools, right? One of the major reasons is that the organizations are really after the data, and right, they want to capture all attributes without what kind of attributes are relevant, or the asset data are relevant to the value delivery or the outcome of the business. And most times they fail to do all those stuff most times. So you realize that the completeness of the asset data is at risk, because some of the data, like I mentioned earlier, are sitting in different departments. Hence, reconciliation of this asset data becomes a major challenge, right? So most times they have a long list of IT assets, but the data is not complete. And henceforth, because the data is not complete, decision making is really affected in the negative side. And of course, the last one is costly complex solutions. Because truth is, if you have too many wide scopes, your first objection is to pay more to find a tool that can get you that more. So then you get frustrated the value, and then they give up. So those are really why IT. There are lots of reasons, of course. If you have ideas, you can put there, but there are so many reasons. These are the three ones I can put. And my advice is that always focus on value when you are coming to IT asset management projects. Like, what is the value? Let's list it out clearly. Do we really want to track asset inventory in terms of gauge how assets are distributed? For example, if it's inventory management, it has to be clear. The goals must be outlined clearly so that the implementers or the implementation partners, which we are, can have a narrow focus and build continual value, adopting the agile approach. And then take a top-down approach, right? So instead of going too wide the scope, let's look at your critical services and map the critical infrastructures so that we can have value as we go, so that we don't really kill ourselves. Oh, what did I write? Yes. I mean, forgive me on that. I was going to talk about, scale with your maturity needs, so that we grow gradually. And truth is, most people think asset management projects should last 2 months. We want to get everything done around in 2 months. So I wrote that scale systematically because it takes a little bit of time, because you're not looking at just the data, you're looking at the completeness and how it contributes to value. Yep. So I will end here for today. I'll probably take questions before Gideon comes in. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much, Sam. I'm finding a way to clap so that you can hear it wherever you are. That was such an excellent delivery. Thank you so much, Sam. There are a few questions actually. I was wondering if, okay, so we'll handle the questions now during the session, and then Gideon can also take over. So I'm going to display on the banner the very first of the questions that came As this one is saying, could you share a few patterns that you've seen across sectors where the asset visibility problem is especially urgent?
Joe, justify if it's urgent, then the cash must be urgent. I'm just joking, right? But I think it's a very important question. I mean, if the person may give much more clarity on the question if need be, but can you share a few patterns you have seen across sectors where the asset visibility problem is especially urgent? Yes. So if I get the question, she's asking probably when she says sectors, I mean, I'm beginning to think probably within the ITSM models, which area is asset visibility problem urgent?
Mhm, mhm,
I think the first one, I would say incident management, right? Because incidents cost organizations money. And in the time of incident diagnostics, if you don't have insight into your asset infrastructure, you diagnose wrong. Actually, Gartner says 40% of the incident resolution time is spent at the diagnostic area when they are diagnosing what caused the incident, you know. And so at that moment of incident diagnosis, right? I mean, the detection of the incident or the diagnosis part of the incident, the diagnostic part, right? If you don't have visibility into your asset, everything you're doing is guesswork, and a lot of people are giving you what could happen. So the direction becomes hard, and it will take you a lot of confused times to actually get to understand what really happened. There was a story we heard from our client. It took them 48 hours to identify what caused the problem in one of their core mobile applications, and so that is a huge challenge. And they brought in vendors, different subject matter experts. I mean, it cost them a lot of money because bringing in vendors and all that, you're paying more to really find out what happened. And at that time, if you have really an insight into your assets, you have visibility into your assets, you can really look at what will happen. And I know some people on the call may wonder how this is possible, right? But we work with Atlassian. That Atlassian suite provides that visibility because your teams are working on Jira. Every task is tracked by a ticket. So your developers are also using Jira, deploying changes via ticket. And then when they're deploying changes in Jira, they're able to select the affected services or the applications they're deploying the change to. So there is a little bit of insight there. And so when an incident happens, the first call is that you can really find what changes had happened to this application in the last 24 hours. At least you get guidance. When you find those changes, you can find the assets that the changes, the downstream impact of those changes. So you have a guide. So that's the answer I would give, the main one. The second one is like change management. When they are deploying change, maybe a major or minor change, the question is how they're able to assess the impact of that change. If they don't have visibility into the asset infrastructure, everything is predictive, like it's conceptualized, right, without data, and it's risky. So in change management, if you have visibility into your asset infrastructure, you can also know, for example, the change I'm going to deploy to a certain application or service. Probably you will know real time, for example, how many incidents are occurring or are happening on that service, to even advise the change deployment time. So incidents and change really matters. And the last part, which would be of course, the service management bit, is that when I talk to senior execs, they are looking at cutting expenditure on IT assets. So transfer of laptops, when we buy a new laptop, who is using it? How many times are we fixing stuff? What's the cost? The cost part drives IT leadership operation. And the reason why organizations can't track that is that they have not gated the process, right? So when I say that, it's when somebody requires a new laptop, what happens? They don't have a service management platform which captures those actions that affect assets. So at any moment, they can't even tell the story. Who was using this laptop? What happened before we bought a new one? So justification of the spend on, for example, laptops or IT infrastructure, sometimes it's hard because organizations have not really engineered that process and gating. And so these three areas are what I think could be some patterns I've seen. Yeah, that
okay.
is true.
Okay, I mean, and even with your mention, I can see the silent impact of these three main issues on budgeting, on forecasting,
Really
to a lot of extent,
correct.
TSG and accuracy. Because then, how do we exactly tell the story, like you mentioned? Now,
Yeah.
I think we'll take one more. I have a few questions that are popping in from the chat, and I believe we've done justice to this particular question. Um, okay, I like this one. But even before I pop up the next question, Sam, will it be a bother to mention a few companies that, I mean, well, from where you sit as an ITSM architect, that on point has actually successfully, helped transform the ITSM management windows of various
Oh
companies?
no, I mean, I need permissions on this question, but I mean, some of the
Exactly.
leading banks in Nigeria,
Yeah.
we've been privileged to work with them
Yeah.
on this, and some of the leading fintechs you know of. I don't want to mention them because I didn't ask
I think
permissions, but
when the time
so we
exactly when
can
the
send
time is
them
right,
forward,
yeah, yeah.
and
So
then a
the
lot
next
of them with that. Yeah.
All right. All right. The next
Mhm.
question, which I think will be your last to move on to Gideon, is what would a successful ITSS management transformation look like from your team by year end?
So for my team, I'm going to take my team as solution consultant. How
Yeah.
we would advise an IT asset management transformation. For me, it would be that we are able to define a process that helps us capture the
Mm-hmm.
actions that affect our assets.
Great.
You know, so that at any point when a leader asks, "Why do we have to change this ATM?" we can go back to our tax management or service management and see because these issues were raised so and so it affected these particular ATMs. The policies are I mean expired because we have the policy data on the ATM asset. And so
Mm-hmm.
because of this, we have to change it. I that's what personally I would see that the IT asset management is not just most, it's not just the inventory. I really want to see the IT asset management glued into the service experience in every department of any company we work with. So that is really what I would see as a successful IT because I've had times where we're able to discover assets discovery, asset inventory. Over time, the customer asks, I mean, the value, what are we doing with this? Of course, it passes the regulatory checklist, but then, organizations really want the value, not just the inventory. So from now, I mean, the last 6 months, my success will be how do we glue IT asset management into the
Oh,
service process, service delivery. Yeah. So that
okay.
would be it.
Okay. One very last one before you go. This is very interesting.
Mhm.
So this person is asking in a crowded solution space, what
Mhm.
should looking out for an implementation partner, especially for long-term ITSM and IT asset management
The
transformation?
person who asks this question should like the person already, right? Because I'm the partner they're looking for. I'm going to the partner they're looking
Exactly.
for. But I mean, just to give a very objective answer, right? So if you're
Yeah.
looking for an implementation partner, you're looking for somebody who knows that learning is part of implementation, right?
Yeah.
So learning the business needs and understanding the business outcomes of the organization area. You need a partner who is concerned about the business outcomes because that is where everything starts. Because the
Mm-hmm.
moment you understand the business outcomes, the objectives of why you need an IT asset management, you're able to create a focused delivery process that meets those needs so that we
Yeah.
can all be clear on what success looks like. So one of the things I would say to look for is an implementation partner who wouldn't just pick your RFP and implement because we know the RFP is just a shadow of what is to come. I mean,
Yes.
but would really go with you on a 2 weeks discovery phase to really understand what problem we are solving, and then collaboratively work together to build it. And so a partner who have made the mistakes, one who have learned from the mistakes, who is a learning partner. And I think on point, it's a partner I would recommend if you're looking for that.
Great.
And the next question on the long-term ITSM, a partner who is really into ITSM. So on point is really a focused company. So, I have to be very honest and say that a partner is focused on ITSM. They are sensitive to modern changes in ITSM and modern expectations from ITSM players. I mean, the service desk team, the incident management team. We talk with them. We understand their key concerns, and a partner who knows these concerns, right, and who knows the value IT asset management can bring onto the whole ITSM. So, I mean, a partner who is really focused doing what they're doing, and have a learning spirit. I think that's it. That's something
Great.
you should.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. Thank you so much, Sam. I like what you said about the RFP is the shadow of what is to come. That's an Old Testament.
I know, I know.
Okay. So, I mean, that was very, very excellent, excellent delivery, Sam. So I will just kick in Gideon so that Gideon takes us to the second part of the web. Please keep your questions coming in. We've seen a few, the few answering at the end of the session as well. So,
Joe, I mean, before Gideon kicks in, I just want to ask our audience: are you ready for a long ride, or Gideon, will you give them just a tip of the iceberg so that we can have?
yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
And I'll just give an intro of what we're about.
okay.
Exactly.
Sure.
I think
Thank
that's
So,
it.
you.
Over to
I'll
you while you step on stage.
Yeah.
Thank you.
share my screen.
Yeah.
Just a second. Uh, please, is my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I think it's loading. We can see your screen, but it's loading up.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, um, it's afternoon in Ghana. So good afternoon. I would just be giving a summary of the assets tools that we are using and some of the insights in Landsweeper and GSM assets. So let's just dive right through it. So one would ask, what is Landsweeper about? I know a lot of the top one of the top five asset tools is Landsweeper, as always stated. With whenever you search for a best asset tool, you will see Jira, you will see Landsweeper. So we, as on point, just partners with Landsweeper and GSM. So we'll just be talking about just Landsweeper and GSM. So first of all, let me just describe what Landsweeper is. So Landsweeper is an IT asset discovery tool that automatically scans your entire environment from your hardware to software to cloud and virtual machines. So, and it builds a real-time inventory. So this replaces your old way of tracking or your old way of storing assets in spreadsheets or across different departments. So the real value of Landsweeper is found when we integrate Landsweeper with GSM, that is Jira Service Management, because Landsweeper would give you visibility, while GSM would connect the visibility to incident requests and services. For example, a user would raise a request or a ticket. A support team can instantly see the device or software that is linked to that particular user. That makes troubleshooting quite faster and compliance easier, making even audits smooth. I know companies really love the fact that when it comes to auditing, they could get things done like without any trouble. They will get their audit reports and everything done at ease. So, understanding Landsweeper as a powerful IT tool, as I said, one, we have the agentless IT discovery platforms, meaning that we don't need to install any um, device or any software on your system before the scan would start or would come in, because it has the ability to do the agents and the agentless. But Landsweeper can pick even more details from it being agentless. So I spoke of the real-time visibility across environments, provide up-to-date insight into endpoint services, servers, cloud, and every asset you have across your network. An advanced feature for your IT management service, automations, talking about automations, software licensing. Yes, that is one of the goals or the values that most CIOs and CTOs want to see in their assets. Like, once you talk about their assets management, they're always thinking about how can we track our license, how can we track our vulnerability insights, how can we have a customizable report to support the IT operations and security. And okay, Joseph, am I audible?
Yes, please. You are. You are.
Joseph.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So would move on to the optimize the IT tracking with GSM. So I made mention of GSM leveraging on the web to make work faster when it comes to IT assets. When it comes to IT assets, so the native Jira application for IT asset management because it has its own container or its own form of saving assets within its inventory. So it doesn't really need the platform or the support of any other that has its own asset inventory and can support asset too. So the second one will be the link asset to service request and incident. As I said, it would help you get visibility into your assets. Give a use case, a user could request and report an incident concerning a software or a cloud or a server, anything, then those assets would be linked to other the right team or the right responders. So the third one would be the manage assets lifecycle and license compliance. I've spoken about that already. That is the ultimate goal of most CIOs and CTOs. Yes, basically. So I think this would be my last part one or last slide. So I would speak on the how Landsweeper and GSM assets integrate for a unified asset management, because since we will be having another section, this was actually supposed to be more of a demo version, but let me just give a summary about it. In our next section, I would give the demo of the integration and how everything is done. So one, we talk about the real-time asset synchronization. GSM has GSM with Landsweeper has the ability to synchronize real time. So basically what it means is you don't need to initiate a scan before your details of the asset is sent into your asset inventory. It will automatically, once you have installed your agent or once you have done the Jira asset setup, in Jira it's called the Jira Discovery tool. So that you have set up the Discovery tool on your servers, it will automatically just synchronize all your assets on the network. So should in case someone would ask, okay, what if a new device or a new server is added to the network? Would Jira be able to pick it up? Yes, Jira would be able to pick it up. Landsweeper would be able to pick it up. Would put everything down. Would put everything down to seal to your assets discovery inventory. Now, just to one asset ticket lineage. Yes, so it combines the Landsweeper inventory with GSM ticketing service direct associated with assets with incident change and service request. I think I've spoken about that. So a visualized assets relationship. So that is actually one of the best advantages I like about Landsweeper and GSM integration, is the fact that you're able to see the relationship between softwares, between the hardwares, between the servers, between the cloud, even with department and even the user. So you're able to see, okay, this software is managed by this person under this department, this person, any detail that you want to get from your license to your tracking, everything you are going to get from Landsweeper and GSM integration. I think this would be my last slide. So unlocking business value by integrating Landsweeper. One, enhancing visibility data, the acceleration of incidents and change management, ensuring data accuracy, simplifying license and compliance tracking, and boosting operational effectiveness. This are basically my top 5 lists on why Landsweeper and Jira need to be. It's a need when it comes to asset management, because these five is basically what every company desires and what every company wants. Joseph, I think I'm done for now. So next time we could talk on the demo section.
Great, great, excellent. Gideon, you've spoken truly like the tech bro behind the scenes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Sam, is there any contribution you want to add to
Oh,
Gideon's
no, no,
point?
no. I was just waiting to watch the demo, but I know you gave us time. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, thanks so much for. I know some people, this may be the first time they've heard of Landsweeper, and so you may have to really Google Landsweeper if it's your first time. If it's not your first time, we're partners, so you can chase Gideon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the first of frequently asked question will be this one. Let me know if you can see what will be the main advantage of switching from our current ITSM management to GSM class last week. This is a very technical skills question. Very,
Yeah.
I
The,
see.
the
Yes,
funny me, the funny me
some.
wants to answer. So let me apologize for Hibo. The main
Okay.
advantage for asking this question is even a prompt that you have to switch. I'm just joking. But yeah, but I think from my side, right, the advantage I see it now, you solve the problems from two different major stakeholders. Those
Mhm.
asking you about the asset inventory quality and completeness have that answer through Landsweeper.
Okay.
Group head technology wants to see a dashboard, license compliance, he wants to have vulnerability details. Landsweeper provides that complete IT asset management you want. And the Jira phase will give you the continuous life story of that asset. So, what actions of the team members, contributed to the change of the asset values and components. You get to track all of that. And then since you're managing your service management, incident management, change management, knowledge management in Jira, that means that every action of the various team can now tell you can now see the effect of every action from the developers, from the security teams, from everybody on assets. So I think that is where, from my side, I would say it gives you the piece of asset inventory quality and the continuous asset delivery value,
Okay.
leveraging on the teams that come. Yeah.
So
I know
Joseph,
Gideon. Yeah.
Okay.
yes,
Yeah. Good.
I would add up to what someone said. Someone is always talking about the values, and that is, I really love it. So I think this question is really really good, because I would answer it this way. So when it comes to automation in and discovery, we are looking at Landsweeper. Landsweeper discovers and updates all your assets without your involvement, right? What GSM would do is to link your data to your tickets, your incidents and change. As Samuel said, it gives you the storyline of your assets. So instead of manually updating or relying on outdated information in your current ITIM tools, your team always have a real-time, reliable assets um, inside GSM. So what commonly IT people, what we want is we want less manual work, more accurate and smooth IT security operations. That's what, as IT guys, we want. We don't want anything complex, just something that we can work with. So basically, this integration, this is what it gives you. I would say the less manual work, more accuracy, and a smooth operations.
Great.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Gideon. This one says, how long does it typically take to deploy a working Landsweeper GSM setup?
This question. Well, Gideon, will you shoot first? Yeah.
Uh, okay, typically, setting up this integration. Okay, so maybe let me just use this case scenario. You already have GSM set up, right? If you already have GSM set up, then fine. But maybe setting up Landsweeper plus GSM can be deployed within 3 to 6 weeks, depending on the scope of work. Though, let me just add it.
Yeah.
Depending on the scope of work. if you
I was
really
actually going to say 3 to 6 months, and it did weeks because I mean that's if there's no setup.
Yeah.
No, I mean there's no setup, and then the last one we did was 4 months. You know,
yeah
so if there's no setup, I mean 3 to 6 months, and also but I mean when it comes to the technical side, Gideon doing his stuff, the
yeah
Jira team, of course, 3 to 6 weeks. But I think I mean, so it depends, like Gideon rightly said, Gideon on the scope,
yeah and the
the
scope of
size
work.
of the enterprise, and
If
the
it's a
ITSM
pilot,
practices in
yeah,
place. Yeah, and a lot of validation, right? So
yeah.
maybe, like you said, minimum. They say 3 weeks or 6 weeks.
I said 3 to 6 weeks, so minimum three.
Okay, or for your non-super, but I would say, I mean, averagely like that from so maybe just less budget. It can be as fast as 3 weeks, like Gideon rightly said. That is, we have had implementation which was within 3 weeks, right? And you have had long ones which took 6 months, but the average you have seen is probably 3 to 4 months. I mean, yeah. So I hope that answers.
Okay, I think that does it does. I think we've gotten a timeline from different perspectives, and that's exciting.
Because I'm always the one chasing. I work with the different teams, so yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
And
So
Joe,
what would
the
be the
last
last?
reason will be the leadership involvement in this project deploying.
Great,
If there's a
great,
leadership drive, it's really faster. I have to be
great.
very
I
honest.
think I know where this is going to be coming from.
Yeah. If there's a leadership drive, it's actually faster. I have to be very honest. So I
Yeah,
agree with Gideon, honestly. Most of the bottlenecks that goes into the 3 months is that there are lots of different opinions around what they evaluate, and the leadership is sometimes, so it's yeah, I just have to put that out. Yeah.
yeah. That it's very necessary because if, as someone said, the timeline of the client, the discussion from this, the discussion from that. Okay, I want this. I want to see this. I don't want this. All that is taking me. I'm just talking about the technical side. So just the
Yeah.
technical side, a basic pilot
Agree.
to run. That's what we are looking at. Basic pilot setup.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Great,
That's
great, great.
yeah.
So I think I'll take our last sense, Samuel, Gideon, before. Surprisingly, we've done an hour, and it felt
All
like
right.
just a few minutes exactly. So I really do believe, I know our audience will agree with me that we need to get a part two of this session where we now look at, the solution in action. So, what would you say, Gideon? What would you say?
Oh, for me, I would say let's IT asset management in terms of the value it can bring. If you're here and you work with a service desk team, I would kindly ask that you champion the value that IT asset management can bring to your team, the stress it can take off your shoulder, and the visibility it can bring. So, I mean, I would love to have conversations even outside this. If you work with a firm, you can invite or introduce us. We love to have conversations. We love to learn what you have done, because we're really a growing company. We want to collaborate with you on that level. So until next time, let's keep learning. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, Gideon.
Okay. I think my closing remark would be that if you need any, if you need consulting on your assets management, your service management, anything else to do with ITSM, I don't think you need to look far. On point is the point you need to point at. It's very necessary. So yeah, we are your guys. So you need to just contact us, and we would make sure your ITSM stuff are going smoothly as planned.
Excellent, excellent. So, thank you so much, Gideon and Samuel, for this incredibly insightful session. I believe it's been so wonderful. Bombs of some bombs. If there's one key takeaway from today's session, and I believe that our audiences will agree, is that visibility isn't actually optional anymore. Is the foundation for asset management. It's very necessary, and it's very key to also note that legacy tools won't get us there, but the right technology and by the closing remarks you had, with the right partner, transformation is actually within reach. Thank you so much for taking time to join us this afternoon. It's key to know that at On Point, the mission is to help organizations like yours bridge the gap between technology and then business goals. Whether you're starting your ITM journey or looking to mature your asset strategy, I mean, we're here to guide you from planning to implementation and even beyond. We still attend your weddings,
Your asset strategy.
so we'd love to continue this conversation with you and your team and explore your current environment and show you how these tools can be tailored to your operational needs. Thank you so much. I've been your host. It's been
Joe,
quite
can
exciting.
I, can I, can I, yeah, Joe, I forgot one good news. So ITSM Connect is coming November. So
Yes,
probably
yes,
the
yes, yes.
audience who want to learn more, you can put it on your calendar. We'll share more updates, but I just remembered to
Yes,
touch it.
yes.
Thank you.
We still have the batch of the people that registered. We still have your details, so we'll make sure to make you a point of contact for a few mails that will be pushing your way concerning the invite for ITSM Connect. So, thank you so much for joining me once again. Thank you for your suggestions. Thank you for your questions. It's been thrilling, and have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. I'm your host, Joseph Gordon, and see you on the next one. All
Bye.
right. Bye.
Most magic. Most magic.